Do you know what you stand for? I mean, really, truly stand for in your business. I was having a conversation with one of my clients about their mission statement. I hate mission statements. Straight up, don't like them. Most people who do a mission statement put in a whole bunch of platitudes that no one cares about. Nobody can truly stand for them because they don't have anything to stand against. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, is standing against something. That's when you actually know what you're about, is when you can draw a line in the sand and know for a fact that anyone who's on the other side of that line is not for you.
I'm talking about drawing a line in the sand, dude. Across this line, you do not. Also, dude.
Nice stories are boring. Would you watch a movie where everything goes great? There's no bad guy, no one gets hurt, there's nothing at stake, everything's just nice. Well, you wouldn't watch it. No one would watch it. It's boring. People want the news to put on nice stories like, why don't you say some of the good things that are happening in our local area instead of just always talking about bad things? Well, the news tries that. Every so often they'll put on a nice story, and what happens is viewership drops off. It goes away as soon as they start saying something nice. People might say they like a good story, but they love tragedies. We're captivated by conflict. You have to find the conflict that's in your industry. There's no standing against something if there isn't any conflict. If there's no one against what you stand against, then there's no real conflict. If some people don't get upset, then it's not a big deal. It's not truly standing against something. I stand against bad quality. I stand against bad service. Well, everyone stands against those things. When I talk to my clients about what they stand against, they start naming off a lot of things. They have a lot of things that they're really against. They never tell the world this. They are afraid of that conflict, so they don't ever tell the world that they're truly against something. When you stand against something, your business stands out. It gets you outside of that sea of sameness. You're no longer just like everyone else saying the exact same things that you supposedly stand for. I stand for good quality. I stand for good service. I do a great job for my clients. All that nonsense that everyone else says. When you stand against something that has conflict involved in it, your brand stands out. And that standing out will attract, it's the only way to attract your ideal target client. Here's a couple things that I'm against. I'm against gurus who sell courses on how to be successful as an agency when they barely have any experience with an agency. They've never gone through all the trials and tribulations that an agency goes through, and they don't understand how to solve those problems. So they end up teaching bad business models. I'm also against bad business models. Actually, I'm mostly against bad business models because if you do the wrong structure inside of your agency, you end up struggling, you end up hating it, and then you start fantasizing about selling a dodgy course to newbies. I'd rather you just learn how to run your agency and make a fortune at it like great agencies do. Since I'm against bad business models, that also by default makes me against people who teach bad business models. So that's the thing. I'm not really against those gurus because I can't stop them. People are always going to be attracted to the get-rich-quick schemes, so I can't really stop that. And I wouldn't stand out anyways by saying I'm against these gurus because even the gurus say that they're against gurus. So that doesn't really help me in building my own brand. But running a bad business, that's something I can be against. I'm also against bad brands. It's crazy how many agencies have terrible brands. They look identical to all their competitors. It's like Agent Smith when he became a virus in the Matrix. He started spreading and turning everyone else in the Matrix into copies of him. That's agencies. I can go on to nearly any agency and they'll say the exact same things as all their competitors. They are Agent Smith. Here's the ironic thing. Ad agencies, marketing agencies, creative agencies, they all tell their clients they need to be different. They need to stand out. They need to have a recognizable brand, and yet they don't. They have all kinds of excuses as to why they don't, but it's because they don't take a stand for something, and they definitely don't stand against something. Once you know what you do stand against, you have to craft that into an attractant, because just saying a negative statement out into the world, it has its places and it does have its effect. But to truly attract your target market, you've got to craft that into a positive attractant, one that your client can say, that's what I desire. I could say something like, build a standout brand that has your market begging to work with you. Or something along those lines that turns what I stand against, bad brands, a sea of sameness, I can turn that into a positive of saying you can have this in your business if you build that standout brand. Here's the 4 parts of standing against and turning it into something you stand for. The first thing is, what are you against in your industry? What do you truly stand against? Line in the sand. You're not going to take anyone who's on the other side of that line. Only the people who resonate with what you believe in. Which brings us to the second part. Is your market against it too? If your ideal target client is not against it, it's not going to resonate. They're not going to care. They're not going to care about that thing. The third part is, what is the positive attractant that comes out of what you stand against? How do you flip that message to the opposite side of I stand for this? The fourth and very critical element of this whole thing is start sharing your message. You have to start testing whether your message matches your market. If it doesn't resonate with them, then they will not be attracted to you. They will just go, oh, interesting, cute, whatever, but they're not going to come to you and say, man, I have been looking for somebody who speaks that message. I've gone through a whole bunch of other agencies who've all said they can do great work for me, but none of them have ever said the thing that you're saying that speaks directly to what I'm about. When you find that message to market match, that's when you know you truly stand for something. I'd love to hear what you stand against. Pop down in the comments. Tell me what you stand against in your industry and how are you using it to build a positive attractant to bring people to you. I'd love to start a conversation on what you stand against so that we know what you stand for. Now, I hope you are against unliked like buttons and will hit that like button, comment, share, and do all the socials. And let's meet right back here in the very next video.